Kyrgyzstan is one of the most amazing and beautiful countries of the world. All the ecosystems of the Northern Hemisphere can be found in its relatively small territory. Deserts and canyons, wonderful beaches of Lake Issyk, glaciers and cliffs of semi-Arctic zones, and beautiful valleys. There are so many superlative epithets linked with Kyrgyzstan. Peak Pobeda, unique Lake Issyk, the mysterious lake of Merzbacher, the ancient forest of Arslan Bob, and species found nowhere else, such as the Simenova fir and Mansbeer marmot. The country has a vast range of untouched nature, powerful glaciers, mountain rivers with crystal clean water, waterfalls, ancient walnut forests, stunning gorges and the highest mountain peaks after the Himalayan and the Pamir ranges. In addition to its natural wonders, Kyrgyzstan is rich with historical and architectural monuments from many different periods of man's civilization. As they replaced each other, different civilizations left evidence of high culture and progress. Our film will tell you about all the treasures in the amazing country of Kyrgyzstan. The Kyrgyz Republic is located in the southeast of Central Asia. The territory of the country stretches 925 kilometers from west to east. The total area of country is 198.5 thousand square kilometers. The borders of the republic are mainly natural boundaries, such as mountain ranges and rivers. To the north and east it borders Kazakhstan, to the west Uzbekistan, to the southwest Tajikistan, and to the southeast China. The total extent of borders is 4,508 kilometers. 94% of Kyrgyzstan's territory lies over 1,000 meters above sea level, and 6.8% is above 4,000 meters. The average altitude is 2,750 meters. Peak Pobeda at 7,439 meters is the highest point, and the lowest at 394 meters is found in Batken Oblast province. The climate of Kyrgyzstan is defined by its geographic location. Its remoteness from oceans and seas and closeness to deserts determines the continental climate with clearly defined seasons. The climate is further conditioned by the variation of altitudes, the relief, the location of mountain slopes towards sun, and the existence of the Lake Issyk, which is a very large lake that never freezes. There are also clear vertical climatic zones. This huge range of altitudes and complex relief gives rise to the diversity and richness of natural resources. All natural ecosystems typical to the Northern Hemisphere, except the tropical zone, occur in the territory of Kyrgyzstan. Mountains are one of the main features of Kyrgyzstan. In total, there are 88 huge ranges lying in long chains from west to east. The majority of them belong to the Grand Mountain System of Tian Shan, which is in Chinese means Celestial Mountains. It is only the Chon Alai range in south that belongs to the other significant mountain system, the Pamir. A small part of Pamir Alai Mountains, made up of two ranges, the Alai and Turkestan, lies between the Tian Shan and the Pamir. Most of the peaks are very high. Worldwide known Peak Pobeda rises up to 7,439 meters. The peak is the mystery of special nature. The history of its conquering is full of heroism, the joy of victory and the bitterness of loss. Conquering Pobeda is comparable to the highest peak of the world, Everest, due to its complexity and unpredictability. Peak Lenin 7,134 meters and Peak Han Tengri 6,995 meters. From Chinese meaning Lord of the Sky, with its clear pyramided silhouette, is the symbol of the mountains of Kyrgyzstan. The ranges, with peaks covered with snow and glaciers in the summer, too are called Alato, which means variegated mountains. The gorges of Kyrgyz mountains are striking and unique, with majestic cliffs and wild rivers, bushes of raspberries and juniper, and proud birds soaring in the clear blue sky. Starting in gentle hills and then rising up swiftly and sharply to insurmountable rocky walls and dangerous passes. With every 200 meters height increase, the air temperature drops by 1 degree. The amount of oxygen decreases and the atmospheric pressure lowers. Eternal snow and glaciers occupy 4% of the Kyrgyzstan's territory. The snow line lies about 3,000 meters. In total, there are 8,208 glaciers in Kyrgyzstan, occupying an area of over 8,000 square kilometers. The existence of such glaciers is due to the favorable interaction of climate and relief. In the eastern part of Kyrgyzstan, the area of Pobeda and Khan Tengri is an area of world significance with 760 glaciers. The South Ilnichak Glacier is one of the biggest in the world, stretching to 58.9 kilometers. The country's glaciers are the main water source of Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan. More than 2,000 rivers start from the glaciers and snowfields of the Kyrgyz Alato. Small streams merge with each other to form sweeping streams that rush over many kilometers and natural barriers. Falling from high cliffs, the water breaking into a myriad of splashes, which reflect the sun rays. Indomitable waterfalls astonish man with their huge and outrageous elements. But the noise of falling water attracts and tempts us, and carries us away from civilization, and opens the secrets of the universe. All the rivers in Kyrgyzstan run to the inner drain basin. The waters irrigate fields providing moisture that turn steppes and deserts into blooming oases. The largest river of Kyrgyzstan, the Naryn, flows through the territory of the Republic for 616 kilometers, merging with the Karadarya River to form the second largest river of Central Asia, the Sirdarya. The Chaktal, Sarıcas and Chuy rivers are also worldwide known among people, especially those devoted keen on risk and adventure. Kyrgyzstan's rivers have huge potential energy and many reservoirs and hydroelectrostations are being built. There are nearly 200 reservoirs. The Taktakul Reservoir on the Narin River is the largest. A main feature of Kyrgyzstan's landscape is the lakes. 2,000 invaluable pearls surrounded with mountains occupy around 4% of the country's territory. Only 16 of them are over 1 square kilometer in size. 85% of the lakes lie in the glacial zone at an altitude of over 3,000 meters. Each lake is unique with its own poetic name and beautiful legend. One of the most beautiful lakes of the world, Lake Sarıçelek, lies on the southeast slope of Chaktal Range. The lake bowl was formed about 10,000 years ago as a result of a rock slide. The shoreline, that is reflected in the mirror-like surface, is steep and covered with a very rich vegetation of Sarıçelek Reserve. The green grass, downy fur and carpet of colorful plants complete the richness of colors gathered in this one place. Lake Menzbacher, located between the South and North Inalchek glaciers, has an interesting history. It was named after German traveler Gottfried Menzbacher, who saw it for the first time in 1903. The lake lies at an altitude of 3,304 meters. The words enigmatic, mysterious and vanishing are often used to describe Lake Menzbacher. In summertime, ice from the glaciers flows into the lake, and once or twice a year, the lake overflows and flows furiously down the valley, sweeping away everything in its path. This spectacle continues for 1 or 2 weeks, and it seems that the lake will disappear forever. But after some time it starts to fill again, until the next break. The mystery of the enigmatic lake lies in this occurrence. The second largest lake of Kyrgyzstan is the high mountainous Lake Son-Kul, which lies at an altitude of 3,016 meters. The deepest part of the lake is 22 meters. From October to April, the lake is iced over and revives only with the first warm days. Around 60 species of waterfalls can be found here. Since time immemorial, herders have settled on the shores for the summer pastures. Yurt settlements are located along the whole shore. The nomadic life leads families high up to the mountains in search of the best pastures and water sources. Often the occasional wayfarers are the only link with outside world. Shepherds will meet you, dear guest, and will certainly invite you to rest in the pleasant coolness of the yurt whilst they serve you with tea prepared according to national recipes, and invigorating kumis, which is prepared from mare's milk and possesses healing powers. The white yurt is well thought out, simple and safe housing, which has mythical meanings that have lived in conscience of Kyrgyz people for centuries. The yurt's wooden construction and felt covering have been improved by nomads for centuries. It can be easily and quickly disassembled into parts convenient for transportation, and that can be just as quickly assembled. Assembling a yurt takes around 1 hour. The latticed extendable walls, kerege, are stretched around the circle. The door frame, bosogo, and the double-flapped door, kalga, is hung. The average yurt is 5 meters in diameter, with a height of 3 to 3.5 meters. The dome of the yurt is made of sharp poles, uuk, that connect to the centerpiece, tunduk. From outside, the kerege are closed with mats made from splices of cheegrass. The yurt frame is tightly covered with felt and the earth floor with leather and woven fur and felt carpets. Different kinds of sacks and bags where utensils and clothes are kept are hung on the latticed walls in precise order. In a precise order. Kyrgyz people follow ancient traditions in arranging the furniture for family members. In the middle of yurt, there is the fireplace, kolomto, which warms the whole room. The living space is divided into 4 parts. The front of the yurt, tor, is the most honorable, and so guests and older male family members are settled here. Behind this are the blankets, carpets and fur clothes piled high on trunks. Women live on the right side of the entrance and men on the left. Up to date, the yurt is still irreplaceable. Throughout the summer, horse herders and sheepherds live in yurts in isolated pastures. Also, the yurt is erected for the most happy days and most tragic days, for weddings and funerals. Issyk is one of the largest high mountainous lakes of the world and is the biggest inland basin in Central Asia. It occupies a cavity of tectonic origin and its surface is located at the altitude of 1608 meters. 80 small rivers enter the lake, but none flows out. The length of the lake is 178 kilometers, and its widest point it is 60 kilometers, and the deepest part is 668 kilometers. The water is so clear that you can see down to 20 meters, and its clarity is suppressed only by Lake Baikal. Issyk means hot lake, which is explained by the fact that it never freezes. Only the surface of shallow bays is covered with thin ice at the shore. The combination of the large warm lake and its surrounding landscape create unique climatic conditions. Hot summers and penetrating cold winters do not occur here. Issyk is beautiful in any season and on any day of the year. Its unpredictability is impressive. Sometimes it is a warm azure lake with waves gently lapping on the golden sand beaches. Sometimes it shines in the rays of fiery sunset, or a sudden wind blows up and then under thunderclouds it turns a cold steel blue tint. In addition to its exceptional natural richness, Issyk has a rich history full of many mysteries. Historical, archaeological and architectural monuments are found the whole shore. Rock paintings from the Paleolithic era, 6 to 4 millennium BC, monuments of Sak Uzun from the early Iron Age, 7 to 5 millennium BC. There are also ancient huge cities. The legendary monastery of the Georgian Christian Church from the 4th and 5th centuries was located on the northeastern extremity of the lake, at the Cape of Holy Nossel. The Dangan Mosque, 19th century, built in the style of Buddha Pagoda and the meadows, forests, bushes, marshes, mountain tundra all occur with the territory of the country. Substantial areas are covered with occasional vegetation from the group of plants found growing on cliffs and rocks. The flora and fauna of Kyrgyzstan is very diverse. The number of plants and animals per unit of area found in Kyrgyzstan sets it ahead of many other countries of the world, and the world community recognizes this fact. The area of Kyrgyzstan is only 0.04% of the total planet area, and yet 2% of world flora species and 3% of world fauna can be found here. The Republic's flora is similarly diverse, including around 4,000 species of plants. The vegetation of Kyrgyzstan is unique in its peculiarity, its richness, its growth cycles, and the large quantity of endemic, useful, and medicinal plant species. Since mountains occupy the main part of the country, many of the animals and plants are from the high-altitude areas. Their distribution is affected by the direction of the slopes. Southern slopes are covered with worm-loving and drought-resistant plants, whilst the opposite slopes, which are sometimes located only some 100 meters away, there are water-resistant and frost-resistant species. More than 500 vertebrates occur in Kyrgyzstan. They include 50 species of fish, 350 species of birds, and 86 mammals. Around 4% of Kyrgyzstan is protected area. The Red Data Book of the Republic includes dozens of species of plants and animals. Among these animals are the snow leopard, Central Asian otter, Siberian deer, Tanshan brown bear, argali, arhar, and golden eagle. As if they are looking at us from the mountain slopes with their mysterious black eyes, both frightening and tempting, so that only courageous persons dare to enter into their absolute darkness and damp walls. And yet if they do, a wonderful picture appears in front of people who disturb the silence of these caves. Words cannot describe the beauty that makes one shiver. The caves have been formed under the influence of different factors, one of which is the presence of karst rock that dissolves in water. The people who explore caves are called speleologists. The main caves are located in the south. Cave Khan and God, Pit of Death, is 3,000 meters long and deep by 100 meters. The deepest is Fersman, is 240 meters deep. Kyrgyzstan, as a whole, Central Asia, is one of the most ancient hearths of human civilization. Archaeologists have found evidence of primitive people who settled here in the Stone Age. Many ethnic groups who inhabited the vast spaces of South Siberia and Central Asia were involved in the formation of Kyrgyz nation. The Kyrgyz, as an ethnic group in Central Asia, were already known about in the first millennium BC and have carried the name through the centuries up to now. In the 3rd and 4th centuries BC, the ancient Kyrgyz were part of powerful union of nomads who seriously harassed China. This was exactly when the building of the Great Wall of China was begun. In the 1st and 2nd centuries BC, a part of the Kyrgyz tribes left the power of the Guns, Hunu, and moved to Yenisei. In Kyrgyz, Yenisei means Mother River, and Baikal, by Köl, rich lake. They founded their first state and Kyrgyz Khaganate here. It became a consolidation center for Kyrgyz nation and its culture. The first written language of the Kyrgyz originated here. Runic inscriptions were well kept on stone monuments. The state was destructed by attacks of conquerors, and the written language was lost but not people's memory. Unprecedented in its size, the epic Manas is a golden treasury of the people's origin that is reflected in more than 3,000 years of history and spiritual life of the Kyrgyz. It is an encyclopedia full of historical events, information about society, customs and way of life. All have an invaluable significance in restoring the Kyrgyz people's history, philosophy and ideology. At the core is an epic biography of Manas. The whole plot is built around it and includes the art of various historic periods, beginning with the ancient stage of mythical creation and ending with the historic legends of the 18th and 9th centuries. At present, there are 35 written versions of the epic Manas that are known about. The total size is more than 1 million lines of poem. A particular contribution to the preservation and passing on of the spiritual heritage lies with the narrators of the epic, Manaschies. The Manaschies' creative work combines traditional character and improvisation. The geographical location of Kyrgyzstan predetermined its importance on the Great Silk Road. The territory and nations of the ancient Tian Shan were at the very heart of this economical and cultural phenomenon. In the 2nd century BC, a lot of attempts were made to pass over the Tian Shan barrier. Many caravan routes changed on the Great Silk Road, but the main routes from east to west and from west to east remained unchanged. From the very outset, 3 branches of the Great Silk Road passes through the territory of Kyrgyzstan. Caravansarais along these ancient caravan routes were located at certain intervals. Tashrabat is a caravansarai of the 15th century. It is situated at an altitude for more than 3,000 meters in the desert George of Kara-Koygon, that is 18 kilometers away from the Bishkek-Torogard road. Local ruler Mohammed Khan built Tashrabat on the ancient caravan route from Semireche to Kashgar. It is a building of rough stone, almost square in the foreground, with a complex of rectangular rooms. The passages and central halls with a dome-shaped roof that is 4 to 6 meters high. The absence of an inner yard and window openings and the simplicity of the masonry and heaviness of proportions are all distinctive features of the building that gives it a severe and invincible look. The caravan traffic contributed to the transition to a settled way of life and the development of trade and culture. Thus, medieval Kyrgyzstan became one of the cultural centers of the ancient Turkic people. Osh, the main city of modern southern Kyrgyzstan, played a significant role on the Great Silk Road. It is one of the most ancient Asian cities. The first settlements emerged at the bottom of the 4-peak mountain Barakush, which is 160 meters high, 3,000 years ago. Due to its convenient geographical location, it became a transit city of the Fergana branch of the Great Silk Road, and for many thousands of years attracted merchants, craftspeople, cattle breeders and farmers. In the 14th century, Suleiman Sheikh was buried in the depths of a mountain that was named Tahti Suleiman, Suleiman's throne. And after this, Suleiman Tau was esteemed as a holy mountain. The museum is located inside a cave on the slopes of the mountain. More than 30 historical monuments are preserved in the city. Among them is the mosque of Ravat Abdullah Khan, 16th to 17th centuries, the mausoleum of Asaf ibn Bukhriya, 7th to 18th centuries, and the mosque of Alimbek Datka, 19th century. Uzgen, is another ancient city of Kyrgyzstan, founded in 18th-19th centuries on a caravan route from Samarkand to Kashgar. It had a look of a powerful fortress. In the 11th and 12th centuries, Uzgen increased its strength and became the capital of Fergana. Picturesque buildings with narrow, quaint streets dominated the central part of the city, with the bazaar square nearby and streets with caravansarais and hammams. Large madrasas and mosques were also in operation. At the present time, only a minaret and 3 mausoleums located 120 meters away from it belong to the best examples of Central Asian architecture from 11th and 12th centuries and remind about the past greatness of the city. In the northern and southern mausoleums, the principal fronts are represented by advanced rectangular portals with the accurate construction diagram of ornamental pattern lines and inscriptions on the front plane. In addition to patterned masonry and fretwork in the decor of the mausoleums, there is also fretted terracotta. The presentation about Kyrgyzstan would be incomplete without introducing the spiritual culture of the Kyrgyz nation, the original traditions, customs, folklore, national cuisine, and the numerous arts and crafts, traditional ceremonies and theatrical performance that are a result of this. At each stage of development, the whole culture, way of life, and concept of the world underwent significant changes and absorbed various elements of the nomadic and settled art, taking new ideas from other cultures and civilizations. Whilst at the same time, largely due to strong family and tribal ties, all the best practices of the preceding generations were preserved, and so the originality and national color has remained intact through the ages. The combination of practical function with product styling is reflected in all items of arts and crafts that are used in daily life: yurt, horse, horse harness, vessels for water, clothing and decorations. The main element is the unique Kyrgyz coloring and its match to the ornamental pattern. The vividness of Kyrgyz national fabrics, fleecy carpets, embroideries, cheagrass mats and artistic felts in cheerful and is composed of strong, deep and rich colors, usually with prevalence of the color red. The decoration is diverse and every type of applied art has its own peculiar patterns. No holiday is complete without a visit to spectacular games. Nomadic life is impossible without a faithful horse, and now the dexterity and strength of a horseman and the build and endurance of a horse are valued equally. They are noted for the variety of competitions. The most popular are various types of horse races: wrestling on a horseback, oudarish, goat pulling, ulak tartish, or the cheerful and exciting game Kız Kumay, Run Down the Girl. Burana Tower, a minaret of the 10th to 11th centuries, is located 7 kilometers from Bishkek city on the way to the picturesque Kyrgyzstan Gorge in the Kyrgyz mountain range. This is a religious monument that dates from the period of Karahanid tribes who dominated most of the Central Asia 900 years ago. It is made of burnt brick and juniper timber. There is a round inner section spanned by an ornamental masonry belt of the octahedral stone. On the south side there is the 5 meters high doorway that leads to the spiral stairs, which go up to a viewing area. The height of the tower is 21 meters and the diameter is 9 meters. Its original height was presumably 44 to 48 meters. In the territory surrounding the tower, the remains of 3 mausoleums and tumble-down quarters of the 11th to 12th centuries were found during archaeological digs. It is likely that Burana was the dominant vertical structure of the ancient city of Balasagun, which was the northern capital of the Turkic state of Karakhanids. In 1218, Balasagun was seized and destroyed by Tatar Mongols, and by 14th century it no longer existed. You will hear the sad legend about the local governor who built this tower to protect his only child from a dreadful fate. It was a kind and just ruler who had an only daughter who was his pride and delight. He was very afraid that he might die and would not see his daughter happy. So he invited all the wise men and astrologers and asked them about his daughter's destiny. Everybody predicted happiness and many long years for the young princess. Only the oldest and wisest oracle told that she would live only until 16 years and would die from a poisonous spider bite. The governor was angry and scared and ordered a tower to be built with a dungeon in which the oracle was imprisoned, whilst his daughter was placed at the top of the tower. On her 16th birthday, the father, satisfied that the prediction did not come true, brought a dish of the ripest and sweetest grapes to his daughter, but when she touched the dish, a spider hidden in the grapes bit her. The National Nature Park, Ala Archa, is located in gorge of the same name. Ala Archa, translated from the Kyrgyz language, means multicolored juniper. There are 4 kinds of juniper: Tanshan spruce, Shrinka spruce, which grows in this region only, in the park. There is an alpinist camp 12 kilometers up the gorge at the height of 2,100 meters. On the upper reaches of a glacier Aksai, the highest peaks of the Kyrgyz range are located. Various types of mountaineering, horse trekking, hiking and picnics in the shadow of branchy firs make this gorge the most popular place of recreation and training for citizens and guests of the capital. And when winter comes, people take skis, snowboards and sledges and go to the snowy mountains to have a rest from the city and its problems and to breathe the fresh air. The skiing stations around Bishkek provide you with prepared runs of varying difficulty. Bishkek is the capital, as well as the political, economical and cultural center of the Kyrgyz Republic. The city is situated at the bottom of the Kyrgyz Plateau, in the heart of the Chu Valley. The number of sunny days in a year is about 322. Every year, the capital is growing and changing, and new houses, hotels, trade centers, student campuses and recreation places are being built. Numerous museums, theaters, clubs, sports centers, swimming pools and discotheques provide wonderful opportunities for cultural and active recreation. Emerald green boulevards and parks, and sparkling fountain streams add unique coloring and rescue us from the baking hot sun on hot summer days. Untouched nature, clear blue skies, bright sun rays, the fragrance of alpine meadows and snowy peaks mirrored in crystal clear lakes will remain as warm memories in your heart. We hope that our film has helped you to get to know more about the world in which we live in, the amazing country of Kyrgyzstan. And we hope that you will want to return here again and again.